ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ Verse 136 जगन्मिथ्यात्वदीभावात् आश्रितौ आक्षिप्तौ काम्यकामुकौ तयोरभावे सन्तापः शाम्ये निस्नेहदीपवत्. So after elaborately explaining this first line of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad mantra, so Vidyaranya comes to the second line. Atmanam chit vijaniyat ayam asmi iti purushah. That much part has been explained up to verse 134. Now kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvaret. That part is now being explained. So Jnanam has been talked about. Atmanam chit vijaniyat ayam asmi iti purushah is that mantra, that much part of the mantra talks about the jnanam, atma jnanam. What is atma jnanam? It is aparoksha jnanam, etc. that we discussed. And second line talks about jnana phalam. We call it as a shoka nivritti. So when we take a grand picture, well, we can take them as this jnana phalam, we can take them as stage number 5 and 6. Stage 5 and stage 6. Well, stage 5 talks about aparoksha jnanam. Stage 6 talks about shoka nivritti, of this jiva's journey. So the whole mantra talks about this stage 5 and stage 6. First line jnanam, second line jnana phalam. And stage 7 also is described as a trupti. That's how this is a trupti dipa prakaranam. But actually that is not there in the mantra. Trupti has not been talked about. Shoka nivritti has been talked about. So it is implied. If shoka nivritti is not there, because that's born of a satisfaction with oneself. One is totally satisfied with oneself. That is called sthita prajna. Anyway, and this implication of course will be discussed by Vidyaranya, Trupti, etc. That is which is a stage 7 that Vidyaranya will discuss later. And in fact chapter will conclude with that Trupti. So that because this is Trupti Deep Prakaranam. So he will talk about that Trupti at the end. But right now he will talk about this second line of the mantra, discussing that, and discusses what is this shoka nivritti, etc. And he introduced this commentary in verse number 135. Kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvaret. That part now he is introducing. So in that, the first thing is what sense object jnana is desire. Kimichan. So here word kim is a akshepa. Answer is no, he does not desire any object. So what sense object jnana is desire? Desiring what? Kimichan means desiring what? Then, he does not desire at all. And Vidyaranya says, well, through this expression, kimichan, etc., Shruti negates entire bhogya prapancha. Desiring which object means does not desire, this jnani does not desire any object. By gaining jnanam, well, he does not desire any object. So Vidyaranya says through this expression, Shruti actually negates the entire bhogya prapancha, and negation means falsification. When one recognizes oneself as a Advaita Brahman, then the whole Dvaita Prapancha is negated, Triputi is negated, Bhokta Triputi, Bhokta, Bhogya and Bhoga. Well, it goes away. This Triputi goes away. So Shruti focuses on this Triputi, negation of this Triputi. First one is Bhogya Nisheda, Kimichan, etc. So why Jnani does not run for Bhogya Vastu? Well, because he knows it as a Mithya. So basically that's what it says, Jagan Mithyatva Dhi Bhavat. Because who will run after a fake thing? One does not run. Only a mad person will run after a fake thing, right? So Jagan Mithyatva Dhi Bhavat, because of the presence of the knowledge. Bhava means a presence. Dhi means a knowledge. So Dhi Bhava, presence of knowledge. Which knowledge? Jagan Mithyatvam. So presence of this knowledge. Or you can say this, it's same thing actually. Jagan Mithyatva is equally important as Atma Satyatvam. It is the same thing. Actually, it is two sides of a same coin. Either one realizes oneself that the truth of the everything, or one recognizes the Mithyatvam of this Dvaita Prapancha. So Vedanta vision actually includes both aspects. And it includes, Jagat means family and this body, mind, sense, complex, etc. Everything that he understands as a mithya. Or else this can be said like this also, that how can one makes oneself free from the entire bhogya prapancha, desiring or longing for the entire bhogya prapancha. The reason one longs for object is not due to knowing oneself. If you have a desire for various objects, that shows one doesn't know oneself. And so when the self-knowledge, of course, is gained, when the mind abides in the self, well, the person is fulfilled and happy. Because one knows that that Atma does not require any improvement for one's security, for one's perfection, for one's happiness, etc. One doesn't require it all. And therefore, the desire for enjoyment, etc., drops off. Because there is no lack in Atma, and so the sense of lack is not there for this person, and therefore he does not desire any bhogya prapancha. So Jagan Mithyat Dhi Bhavat. Because of Nishtha, you can say, even this in Jagan Mithyatvam, Kamya Kamuka Vishayau Akshiptau. Kamya Kamuka Vishayau. So Kamya means bhogyam and Kamuka means this bhokta. So both are akshipta, both are negated. You say Kamuka means this bhokta. Bhokta means what? This ahankara. Ahankara means what? Mind plus chidabhasa. And mind plus chidabhasa, mind is also mithya, chidabhasa also is mithya. So ahankara is mithya. So bhokta is mithya. If bhokta is mithya, bhogya prapancha also is mithya. Anyway, so since both are equally unreal, so whereas the chit, the oneself, is basically the consciousness, is not a bhogyam, not a bhokta. So he understands this bhokta bhogya vilakshana, aham atma asmi. So tayoho abhave, when both are absent, when both are falsified, then this bhogya prapancha is no longer, is no more capable to bind this person. And when object exists by itself, then if you know that, if you have that kind of a sense that the object exists independently, then definitely you develop some ragadvesha. Ragadvesha is born only by satyatva buddhi. No fake object can create any kind of a like or dislike in you. So when one develops a ragadvesha for a given object, definitely you feel that object exists independently, because it is satyam. then it becomes, well, and then you develop a ragadvesha, and then they are capable of giving you happiness, unhappiness, etc. And then every bhogya vishaya and then can disturb, by arrival or a departure, depending upon what raga or dvesha you have. So as long as I am bhokta, well, there is a bhogyam. As long as there is a bhogyam, then I will be disturbed by them. So, and actually we should not say that this bhogya prapancha is responsible to disturb me, because by ragadvesha I empower the world, this bhogya prapancha, by ragadvesha, and then every ajnani empowers the world, and then he complains that Jagat disturbs me. This jnani's job is to disempower the world by taking away the ragadvesha, and that ragadvesha goes away by mithyatva darshan. And so either so dvesha also cannot be there, or raga cannot be there for a mithya thing. Like for a mithya snake, one cannot have a dvesha. For a mithya rajatam, silver, on shukti, etc., well, one cannot have a raga also, since he is disempowered. So then definitely sorrow, grief, etc. Recedes, worry, etc. recedes. So shamye, when it subsides, it recedes. And this Jagan Mithyatva Darshanam should be done again and again. So then only this habitual worry goes away slowly. No habit goes suddenly, so it will go slowly. And the example he has given here in verse 136, Nisneha Deepavat. It is like a flame which does not have a support of a oil. When oil depletes, definitely gradually this flame also goes out, it recedes. So santapa also same way goes away. So deepa, etc., means here in our case it is a sorrow is extinguished. But the flame, deepa means a flame. So when the flame here of a sorrow depletes, because this ragadvesha oil is goes away from that. So that's how in Ishavasya, tatra ko mohaha kashokaha ekatvam anupashyatah. So there is no delusion, no sorrow for this person. So this is Shoka Nivritti. We are discussing now Shoka Nivritti. How Shoka Nivritti, directly it has not been told. As I told you last time, Shoka Nivritti has not been discussed here directly. Like in Bhagavad Gita, unlike in Bhagavad Gita case, that is discussed directly. But here by negating bhokta, bhogya, etc. So bhogya prapancha is negated by mithyatva darshanam, and therefore bhogya prapancha has been negated by mithyatva darshanam. Therefore ragadvesha won't be there, and therefore there will not, they won't generate a happiness, unhappiness, etc. in a person. That by Shoka Nivritti. So 137 now. Gandharvapattane kinchit naindrajalika nirmite janan kamayate kintu jihasati hasannidam. So he gives an example to show that he does not, this jnani does not have a desire for a mithya vastu. So when kimichan part is discussed from the mantra. And so like a person is looking for buying a house, etc. And well, someone says there is a new city, which is developed, and very many apartments are empty, etc. And then he wants to know more about that city, etc. So it says here Gandharva Pattanam. It's a fake city, which is like a formation of a cloud in the evening, etc. In sky it is. So that this city is not here in Bhuloka. Then it's a real city. But this is a city developed in the sky. So celestial city, like we can say. So Gandharva Pattanam, city of celestials. Hanging city, we can say, like hanging gardens, right, of Babylons. So this is a hanging city. So he will get a hanging apartment. And so person wants to buy that. Nobody does that, right? Because you know mithya, so you don't long for. The longing arises for an apartment in a bhuloka. But no longing can occur in a person of apartment which is constructed in a sky. So Gandharvapattanam or Aindrajalika Nirmite, a fake city created by a magician, let us say. Aindrajalik. Indrajala means a magic. So Aindrajalika means related to the magic, means created by a magician. So he's in a magic show. He will show you looking at the ceiling, suppose some kind of some creation, etc. Anyway, so Aindrajalika Nirmite or Gandharva Pattane, either way. Kinchit. Kinchit na. So Janan, one knows that this city is created or apartment is created in the sky or it is created by a magician. Well, then it is unreal. So Janan, so one knows that this is like this. It's not a real city or a real apartment on a bhuloka. Then na kamayate kinchit, then he does not desire for that apartment. On the contrary, what happens? Hasan idam jihasati. Hasan, son. We have to. This is actually present participle from hastatu. Hasan son, he jihasati. Sah jihasati. So having laughed or laughing, while laughing, he drops the desire. Or hatumicchati, he drops this desire. Tyajati, you can say. So same way, so he wants to say for Jnani also, Paramarthik Drishtya, well, he understands the entire universe as like this kind of an apartment. So for him actually there are only two categories. One is Satyam Atma, the other is this Anatma, the world, etc. is Mithya. So that he explains in a verse 138. With this example of this Gandharva Nagara or Indrajalika, he explains the Dashtanta in 138. Apataramani bhogeshvevam vicharavan nanurajyati kintve tvan dosha drishtya jihasati. So apataramani bhogeshu bhujyate iti bhoga. What is experienced is a bhoga, and here we call it as a bhogya padartha. So bhokta, bhogya padartha. That bhogya padartha here it is called as a bhoga. And these two are linked by bhoga, means an experience of a sense pleasure, etc. So entire bhogya prapancha, well, which is discussed as a bhoga here. So apata ramaniyeshu bhogeshu. So very attractive. Ramaniyeshu means attractive. But apata ramaniyeshu, entire bhoga prapancha, well, is very attractive superficially. Apatataha ramaniyam or apatena ramaniyam, either way. So apatataha means superficially. Superficially ramaniyam means attractive. So apatataha ramaniyeshu bhogeshu, this entire bhogya prapancha which is superficially attractive, means it has a beauty, but it's like a fake diamond or a fake gold. It's superficial. But for whom it is? Vicharavan. Well, Jnani is a very perspective person, so he has trained his mind to see the entire Bhogya Prapancha, to inquire into Bhogya Prapancha. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamaya. So he does not fall for these concessions given by this Maya Devi. So basically, Jnani refuses to buy under the strategy of this, strategy or gimmick of this Maya Devi. So he inquired thoroughly, then came to know that Maya Devi is selling the old stuff. There is nothing new in this. So Anu plus Ranjadatu. Fourth conjugation. Anurajyati. You know the word Anuraga. Anuraga means also attraction. So same Anurajyati. So means have an attraction. So basically, of course, this living requires using this materials and worlds and etc. But so difference is not rejecting the object here, but we should not. The Jnani does not empower the object basically. So by its presence or absence, it doesn't make any difference in a Jnani's life. So dosha drashtya jihasati. Well, he refuses to be dependent emotionally. It has its sticky nature basically of this bhogya prapancha. As the sticky nature of this bhogya prapancha is no more there for the Jnani. So basically, he does not depend on this Bhogya Prapancha emotionally. So then it remains harmless. They give you remember the Pujya Swami used to give an example of a jackfruit. You know, jackfruit, they grow plenty in Kerala. And so when they cut this woman, she cuts this jackfruit, then some very sticky fluid oozes out from the skin, and then it sticks to the hand while cutting. So what she does is, she in order to remove the sticky substance from the one hand, she employs another hand. Then when that gets stick to the this stuck to this second hand also. So she cannot be free from this sticking fluid. But what they do is they first, before cutting the jackfruit itself, they apply the coconut oil on both the hands, and then they do that. Even I have seen in the people while they're removing this shell from this cashew nut. There also they apply this, because while removing the cashew nut, that shell, some kind of a fluid comes out. Then it sticks to your hand, and in fact it burns also. So she applies, in cashew nut factory, where the cashew nuts are getting ready, they import along with the shell, and then they used to do this, apply oil. Anyway, so same way here also, the Jnani applies the oil of this Jagat Mithyatvam, and then touch this world. I mean, experience the world. So then world, this Bhogya Prapancha cannot get stuck to this Jnani's mind. So anyway, that is what it is said here. Verse 139. Arthana marjane kleshah tathaiva paripalane nashe dukkham vyaye dukkham digarthan kleshakarinah. So this Vidyaranya explains this dosha darshanam. Already one dosha is we have been highlighted here for the Bhogya Prapancha. This Kimichan part is explained. Desiring what object? Means he does not desire. Why he does not desire? Because mithyatva darshan. So that is first dosha in Bhogya Prapancha, that is mithya. Now he explains another thing. First thing is it is mithya. Mithya means it's a non-substantial. We have to understand this. We have one word of in a Sanskritam and in Gujarati also there is a word asaraha. Saraha means an essence. Asaraha means no essence, no substantiality, more than an experience. So only the one sara or the substance is this Brahman. Other than that, there is no sara. That's how they call vastu. They use the word vastu. Vastu means an essence, substance, and that is Brahman. Other than that, nama rupa, etc., is just at the level. Nama rupa you experience. That's it. So anyway, this is a one dosha, mithyat. Therefore, Bhogya Prapancha he does not desire, because it is mithyat, therefore no ragadvesha, therefore no desire, etc. Ragadveshas are there, then desire are there. Ragadvesha is there based on a satyatvam of the thing. Fake thing cannot create ragadvesha. Okay, second dosha he now discusses in verse 139 and verse 140. So even while he appears to basically cause happiness, equally it is a cause of a sorrow. That's what we say. Arthanam arjane dukkham, vyaye dukkham, then paripalane dukkham, and nashe dukkham. It's fraught with the unhappiness. That's actually not in Vedanta. Really speaking, Vedanta does not talk like this. But still, this is a beginning. Arthanam arjane, arthanam is a vastu. Arthyate iti arthaha, which is desired. Bhogya Prapancha. Arjane dukkham. While earning itself, while acquiring, there is a dukkham. And because all the objects are not available to you, so you have to put efforts. And in order to buy them, you have to earn money, etc., etc. So all arjane dukkham. And then paripalane dukkham. You want to retain them in the same fold, right? And you can't retain. The object being what it is, a part of the Jagat, it keeps changing. And when it's changed its form, it does not remain a object of happiness for you. So you want to retain this, the same form which you desired, and that's very difficult. You can't retain, you can't maintain the same form. While maintaining the same form also does not remain the object. It does not remain an object of happiness. But suppose, so paripalane also dukkham. You can't retain that form, the form which you desired. And so paripalane dukkham, nashe dukkham. Once it goes away, well, there is a dukkham. The other object goes away, either you go away. So either you go away from the object, then also there is a dukkham. Anyway, so this is the initial thing actually. Vedanta goes one step further. And it says even when it's a object, this bhogya prapancha serves as a cause of happiness, actually it helps in bringing out my own happiness. Object is serving as a mirror actually. That's what they say. Look at the mirror and you see your beautiful face. But actually this glass frame etc. belongs to mirror. But beautiful face does not belong to mirror. Well, it belongs to you. It only appears in the mirror. It is not located there. It's only a reflection. So even so-called bhogya prapancha gives you a temporary joy, world gives, but basically it borrows from you only and sells to you. It borrows from you and sells to you. So sense object basically reflect my happiness. We discussed several, this aspect we have discussed before also. Sense object reflect my happiness, but we fall for that, not knowing my nature being happiness. Anyway, so arthanam arjane kleshah, acquiring of all forms of objects, sense objects, properties, a pain. Tathaiva paripalane, like maintenance of, let's say property. Tathaiva paripalane, maintenance of properties, much pain. Nashe dukkham, well, nashe dukkham, when it goes away, well, it creates a lot of pain. Vyaye dukkham, if you maintain also, well, it will not last long. So vyaye dukkham, when you spend, well, definitely. So what happens is the object of enjoyment, gets spent. And so it creates a dukkham. So that's how, while enjoying itself, like Puja Swami used to give an example of that faluda. So it's an object of happiness for you. But basically when you drink, so person keeps on seeing that it is depleting slowly, the layer going, because you are sipping. So you should enjoy that. But while enjoying itself, you are seeing that it is getting exhausted, so it gives a pain. So vyaye dukkham. Anyway. Dik arthan kleshakarina. Dik means it's a vyaya actually. Dik is a indeclinable, governs a second case. So dik arthan is a second case, right, of artha. All objects, require condemnation. Dik means a condemnation. It's a expression for condemnation. So dik arthan, basically all objects require condemnation by kleshakarina. They all the time give pain. While before acquiring they give a pain. When will I get? Whether I will get or not. And when you are enjoying also, where they are getting depleted also, so you want to maintain them in the same form, etc., in the same quantity, you can't. So that gives pain. And when they go away, nashe, also dukkham. So this is with regard to inert objects, basically. Now with regard to conscious beings also we have an attachment, because bhogya prapancha has both the things. Certain things are inert, certain people towards which we have an attachment. So now he talks about this conscious being, other people towards which we have an attachment. So that also is equally condemnable. That's what he is going to say. Verse 140. Mamsapanchaliकायास्तु यन्त्रलोलेङ्गपञ्जरे स्नायुव्यस्थिग्रन्थिशालिन्याः स्त्रियः किमिव शोभनम्. now talks about a Chetanam. So Jnani, well, does not fall because of a superficial beauty. So physical body, for which for another physical body I have some attraction. So has a that also has a apata ramaniyatva, means it has a superficial beauty. So Mr. and Mrs. Universe, etc. But a particular physical body. But when your knowledge is a skin deep knowledge, well, then this you will be attracted towards that. When it crosses your knowledge, your drashti penetrates beyond the skin, then it's horrible. Horrible to any sense. Any sense. I'll talk to you a little bit, not much. I mean, in the form inside the body, you don't like to see. Disgusting to the sun, to the eyes. Just see. A man or a woman without skin is standing in front of you. I tell you, it is extremely disgusting. Then smell. I don't want to talk. Okay, so for nose, extremely disgusting. And then the various kinds of sounds which are going on, extremely disgusting. Taste, you can't think of, disgusting. And so in terms of taste, in terms of a smell, in terms of a form, seeing, sight, in terms of a touch, very slimy. Here itself is just enter from here. You will see. So if your knowledge is a skin deep knowledge, it remains a object of attraction. Once you cross and see really what is behind the skin, what is behind the packing, it's very disgusting. Anyway, and so this is a description of a shariram. So anyway, anga panjare, body cage, physical structure, which is yantra lole. So it's an adjective to this anga panjare. Highly active, this body cage, physical structure, like a machine. Yantra lole means this physical body, this physical structure, which is like a machine, which is very active. Kimiva shobhanam, Vidyaranya says. What is a great attraction? What is there is a great attraction in that? Mamsa panchalikayaha. Panchalika means a doll. Mamsa panchalika means a fleshy doll. This every body is like a fleshy doll, and constituted of what? Snayu shalinyaha, which is constituted of muscles, bones, glands, blood, etc. This is a composition of physical body. There is nothing worthwhile. So this is very essential, in as much as our own people, they ask, privately they ask to Swami, that Swamiji, this kind of attraction for other person, other body especially, is there, how to get rid of. This shloka helps them. Especially some young people, when they come to Vedanta and they really like also, they appreciate Vedanta, but at the same time get pulled by this lust of other physical body. So this kind of a shloka can help them. So one side, this kind of a dosha darshanam, and the other side, one should see physical body as a tool for the spiritual growth. But basically, this is the reality of the physical body. It disintegrates, dies, etc. So they never hold on to that. Never hold on to anybody's physical body, never get attracted to anybody's physical body. One's own body also is like that. But still it is, they give this kind of a phrase that dehe sadhyatva buddhihi mohaha, dehe sadhanatva buddhihi vivekaha. If deha is a sadhya, somebody's physical body is a goal for somebody, either a male or female. And that's an object of attraction, and therefore it's a goal. Then it is a moha, it's a delusion. Because the reality is that if you just remove the skin, or if you just go deep into the skin, will not be attraction for any sense pleasure at any sense level, I mean. And so dehe sadhanatva buddhi viveka. Well, sadhanatva buddhi, deha is considered as a means to achieve something, then it is really viveka, means to achieve a moksha, etc. That's how Bhashyakara Shankaracharya ji says Moodamati. Samprapte san nihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrun karan. Anyway, so Moodamati. And better he has used in Bhajagovindam Balastavat Krida Saktaha Tarunastavat Taruni Raktaha. So that's a thing. And Vruddhastavat Chinta Saktaha Pare Brahmani Kopi Naraktaha. If one has attracted towards anybody's physical body, one will not definitely has attraction. One does not have attraction for this moksha, etc. So striyaha is a upalakshana we should consider for any physical body. And so shalinyaha striyaha, snayu shalinyaha striyaha. So yantralole angapanjare kim shobhanam asti. It's akshepa. So this yantralole, which is like a machine, Angapanjare, which is a physical body, which is a physical structure, and which is Mamsa Shalinya, which is a flashy doll with all these muscles and bones and blood and etc. Striya means here Upalakshana. Well, who will have this attraction? Who will be object of attraction? Which physical body will be an attraction? Kimichan, under that we are discussing now. Well, it will not be an object of attraction. So means a conscious being also will not be an object of attraction, and a inert object also cannot be an object of attraction. So therefore entire Bhogya Prapancha is no more an object of attraction for this Jnani. Anyway, verse 141. Evamadishu shastreshu dosha samyak prapanchitaha vimrushanna nishantani katham dukkheshu majjati. So a Jnani, as a part of this Nididhyasanam, instantaneously, or instantly assimilates this truth of Anatma. So no chance of falling into pits. And incidentally, this previous shloka is from Yoga Vasishtha, from Vairagya Prakaranam, 21st Prakaranam and first shloka. 139 also is a quotation, both quotations. So he says here, Evam Adishu Shastreshu. So in such shastras, in all which I have quoted in verse 139 and verse 140, doshaha samyak prapanchitaha. Doshas are well presented. Doshas of Anatma, doshas of Bhogya Prapancha is well presented, And Vedanta, after describing doshas of Anatma, body, world, etc., when we read repeatedly, dosha darshanam leads to disgust, hatred. And once you develop a disgust and it turns to hatred, Vedanta pulls you back. This is what it is. Because attraction is not required as much as even hatred also is not required. When you hate Anatma, you hate Ishvara. Now we're going back. Yeah. That is why it's a tremendous, Vedanta brings you a tremendous objectivity. In fact, one who appreciates Vedanta is a totally objective. That's how Pujya Swamiji says that when you are totally objective, what is Ishvara. When you are totally objective, what you appreciate is Ishvara alone. And therefore, when you discuss, the analyzing the physical body, which is generally an object of attraction for a woman or for a man, then you really develop a disgust and hatred. When you develop that, then it's an unhealthy attitude. So dosha darshana leads to such a hatred. You should see now guna darshan in the body. Deho devalayah proktaha, jivo devas sanatanaha, tyajed ajnana nirmalyam. So this, and dehaha devalayah, this body is a temple where Ishvara has manifest, right? And therefore now Guna Darshan. And Taittiriya Upanishad also, varieties of the upasana are there, in which there is a Guna Darshanam in the Deha. Kshema iti vachi, yoga kshema iti pranapanayoho, karmeti hastayoho, gatiriti payau, vimuktiriti, etc. etc. In the Shikshavalli, well, this Deha is looked, I mean, the Guna Darshanam of the Deha has been done. So, looking upon as a Devalaya, etc. In chapter 11 also, it has been discussed, this whole world, this Anatma Prapancha, Bhogya Prapancha we call, that's looked upon as a Vishwarupa, divine, and so once you should look upon it as a divine thing, no hatred. Once attachment comes, Dosha Darshanam. Then continue. You should continue with the Dosha Darshanam till you become free from the attachment. And if it further develops a hatred, well, starts now Guna Darshanam. That's how we have to do. Guna Dosha Darshanam, not just Dosha Darshanam. So, well, so now, but how can I develop a Guna Darshanam now in another physical body? Well, it's very simple. There is a divinity all over, because every body is a body of Ishvara, being a Vishwarupa. So, when the other person is seeing, well, it is you appreciate Ishvara. When he is thinking, you appreciate Ishvara. When he or she walks, you can appreciate Ishvara. One can recognize Ishvara in another person. Ultimately, one conscious being, one consciousness which is ever present. In presence of that, while this Anatma, which is non-separate from that Atma, while functions. The mind functions in presence of consciousness. The legs function in presence of consciousness. Eyes function in presence of God. That's a reality, actually. No conscious being basically has that kind of will. Will is there, and therefore, well, by will he sends. We say like that. We say like that, actually. Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha. Kenah prana prathamah praiti yuktaha, etc. etc. But there is no conscious being. I mean, an individual, substantial individual is there who is really, pushing the sense organs into various fields, etc. Nothing like that. There is merely a consciousness in whose presence this Anatma, entire body mind sense complex, just functions in presence of consciousness. He is Adhyaksha. So mind functions because the consciousness is there. Hearing, that's how Puja Swami is to give this, you can appreciate in terms of hearing first. Hearing takes place because you are conscious being. Seeing takes place. That's the reality. Conscious being does not will to see, does not will to hear. Then conscious being becomes a karta if he uses the free will. He or she uses free will. So it's not like that. That's under the spell of ignorance one says like that. That I see, I hear. Means I will to hear, I see, will to see, etc. The reality is this, that there is just consciousness. And this Anatma Prapancha, which is non-separate from it, functions in its presence. Anyway, so in other person, now you have seen the Dosha Darshanam and it is no more an object of a attachment. Then, you see the divinity there. Then this will not remain as object of attachment. Means the person sees, while the Ishvara is, a person hears, Ishvara is, etc. etc. And so, or in one's own body, that Bhagavan has given this body for some purpose, and so I utilize that for that purpose. This is a mature attitude. So Anisham, constantly, Tani Vimrshan, dwelling upon them, Katham Dukkheshu Majjati. So you dwell upon the Shastra and you see the Anatma Prapancha like this, with Guna and Dosha, Katham Dukkheshu Majjati. How can this watchful Jnani, fall into the pit of a sorrow born of attachment? So this is how this has been discussed. We'll keep up to this point. In the next class we'll see further. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.